Hello everybody and welcome back to Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson, and today I have another one of those raiding the rack videos for you, and this time I had some absolutely beautiful Hoya plants to show you, and well, I think I've got a bit of the Hoya bug now, like so many others of you out there. I hadn't really gotten into Hoyas so much, but now I've had a couple of Hoyas, some months now, and I've just been out today and got me another Hoya, and I want to show you those that I have because they are absolutely beautiful and they have been working so well for me in our crystal cottage here in southern Sweden. I have one of my Hoyas in an east-facing window, and I have another one hanging in our crystal library, which is this room here, and it's in the middle of the room, and it has a window that is north-facing and a window that is west-facing, and it gets just the light that's in the room, but not directly on the plant. And then I have another Hoya that is in our west-facing window in our bedroom. And all three plants seem to be doing very well, but the plant that is in the middle of the room here in our crystal library is doing slightly less well than the others, I think. So I am just going to get on and show you these wonderful Hoyas. And another thing about these Hoyas is I'm not really sure about the cultivar names. Now, I've been looking online and I've been trying to match up these plants as close as I can to what I think they are, because where I bought them, they had no clue of the type of Hoya they are. They had no names on them, nothing like that. They were in a small country garden centre, so no big wide garden centre that has lots of the same plant or anything like that. So I managed to get myself actually much bigger examples of these plants for the price I paid, and you won't believe it. So let me get on with the first plant. So here is my first example of a Hoya. So this Hoya, as far as I can tell, is a Hoya pubicalyx Royal Hawaiian Purple. And it, since I've had it, now I've had this plant actually a good 3 months. And well, finally I've got round to making my Hoya raid in the rack video with the other Hoyas that I'm going to show you today. This plant has grown an awful lot in that time. I have had to wind these tendrils constantly, as you can see here, one here and one down here, and they're all over the place here. They stick up high, and then I have to go in and fold them around, and they're going around and around and around and around this metal ring here, and this plant is just very happy. This is the plant that I have sitting in our eastern facing window, so it gets the morning sun, and it absolutely loves it. When the new leaves come out, they come out this dark kind of red burgundy mauve colour, and it's absolutely beautiful, and it's the same kind of dark shade of burgundy red as all the stems are in this plant, and the veining in the back of the leaf is also a burgundy colour, and then on the leaves it has these splashes of lighter green, small amounts of splashes of lighter green on the leaves. So it's also very beautiful in that manner. And have a look at all these leaves closer, because I want you Hoya specialists out there to tell me if I have the right name for this plant or not. Hoya pubicalyx Royal Hawaiian Purple. And look at those leaves. At first I thought it was a Hoya pubicalyx splash, but it hasn't got that much splash on the leaves, even though it has. And it really does have this dark burgundy colour going on in the stem all the way around, and as I said, the leaves change colour to a darker purple. And I think if this plant was more in the sun, I think more of the leaves would go the darker burgundy colour. At the moment they're all pretty green, But in the middle of the summer, they were really, as they were getting more morning sun, going very purple when the new leaves came out. So that is an absolutely beautiful plant. Look at the size of it. I mean, look, I can use it as a beautiful ring around my head. I can get my head right in the middle. It is huge. It's absolutely beautiful. And if you want to know the price I paid for this, I paid around about 129 Swedish kronas for this plant. You can work that out in your dollars and your euros and whatever currency you use, because whatever the currency, this plant was not expensive for this size, and it just keeps on going. And I wasn't sure if I liked these plants in these rings, but I bought it in this ring, and I found out that it works in the space in our windows, especially the windows I want it to be in here in our cottage, because they're not huge windows, so I can keep it under control, because I just don't want to cut off the tendrils. I just want to let them keep growing, and I want to get a thicker amount of this beautiful green leafage going on around this trellis or this ring. So that is absolutely wonderful. So that was my first Hoya. Let me go in and get the second one to show you a bit of contrast. So the next Hoya I'm going to show you is this one. And this is the Hoya I have hanging in the middle of our crystal library here. So it's not close to a window. And this is the one that I'm saying is, even though it's doing well, it's okay. It's got lovely thicker leaves down here at the bottom. It's got these tendrils coming out, but they're getting thinner and the leaves are getting smaller and smaller as they grow out. So it wants to grow, but I don't think this one plant is getting enough light to sustain the lovely big leaves that it wants to grow out on it. Now, I think this plant, as far as I can see, is a Hoya carnosa splash. Which cultivar of splash, I don't know. So any of you experts out there, please give me the name of this Hoya. If it is a Hoya carnosa, it really does look like a Hoya carnosa rather than a pubicalyx. So, because it gets these wider leaves on it. And if it's not getting enough light, I can see they're quite green and wide like a carnosa. And the rest are much more splotchy with silver, big areas of silver tones and splashing marks on and so forth, as I said. So I'll bring this in a bit closer so you can see. So look at those leaves. What a beautiful plant it is. And there's the other side. And then we'll go around a little bit more so you can get to see every side. So you really can see these leaves. So you can help me to identify this beautiful, beautiful Hoya that I've brought home here. It's absolutely beautiful as well. I mean, look at all the variegation going on in those leaves there. They're absolutely beautiful. I think I've had this Hoya now just over a month, and it was just all the pieces down here. So since then it's grown out all these new tendrils here. And I can really see that this is a Hoya that does like more light to keep the variegation and also to keep the leaves growing out nice and big and not just getting small and long and leggy, which is what's happening here. So I'm going to have to reorganize this plant. I will probably have to put this onto a ring or something like that, or some kind of thin pole, because I don't really want to have it on a stake because it's too thick. So I might repot it and put it on a thin pole and have it growing up either the middle of one of my windows or something like that, because it really does need to be moved so that it can grow out these beautiful big leaves. Because look at these beautiful big leaves down here. That's how I want the plant to carry on growing, with those beautiful variegations. So this is another beautiful Hoya I found out there while I was raiding the rack. And again, I think I only paid 160 kronas for this whole plant here. A lovely plant and a great price once again, I think. So that was number 2 on the list. So let me go and get my final Hoya to show you today. Now look at this beautiful Hoya here. Look at the coloration going on in these leaves. This is the beautiful Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess. And again, this plant had no name tag on it where I bought it, so I've looked online, and well, the plants that I've looked at that resemble this the most are the Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess. So I'm sure that's what this plant is. If it's anything else, please write down below so that I get the names of these Hoya. They're absolutely wonderful and they're quite new to me in my collection. This one I only just bought today, so it really is new for me. It's been washed off and I actually had to come home and I had to put all the tendrils that were growing out the top of this all out like this. They were just growing out everywhere. In and wind them around its arch here straight away, so I get the shape and all the leaves growing together. And then there was one here growing in the middle that I decided to actually put up in the middle and wind around. And I'm thinking if any more tendrils come out, I'm going to put them up in the middle and make this into a bigger bush in this height, because it can hold on to itself around here. And it's been doing really, really well. Oh, it's very heavy, so it's good I have it up in a window because it helps to hold it up. It's been doing very, very well. It's got beautiful pink colorations going on, dark and light. And the thing that tells me that this is a Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess is that the variegation is going on in the middle of the leaf, while around the edge it's mostly green, because there is a Hoya carnosa Crimson Queen, which has the variegation around the edge of the leaf and more green in the middle. Okay, experts out there, tell me if I'm wrong. So let me bring this in to give you a closer look at all this beautiful plant. So look at that once again. I have a whole plant around my head like a halo, and I'm just loving it. Look at that pink coloration going on in those leaves, and the lime color and the dark and the light green. And then the one in the middle has actually near enough just reverted back to plain green. So that can show that that can happen as well. But it's lovely because it's got all the different types of tones going on in it. And that's what I really enjoy. And I haven't got many plants with this pink coloration in the leaves. So this is a really nice new type of coloration and plant to look at. Even closer. So look at this leaf. It's really, really pink. And then there's another one here that's very pink. Look at those leaves. They're just amazing. And then one here that's very pink as well. Look at that. Gorgeous plant. Absolutely gorgeous. And even the lighter toned leaves, they're absolutely gorgeous. So basically, I have another wonderful Hoya that I can enjoy for some time. This is just absolutely gorgeous. So now, in this Raiding the Rack video, I have shown you 3 Hoyas that I have here at Crystal Cottage, but I also do have Hoya australis. So I have 4 different types of Hoya going on now, and I just couldn't be happier. So that is absolutely wonderful. So that is all the plants I have to share with you today. My beautiful Hoya pubicalyx Royal Hawaiian Purple, or whatever it is, and my beautiful Hoya carnosa Crimson Princess here. And then I also showed you my hanging Hoya carnosa Splash. So 3 beautiful and very different types of Hoya. So I would just suggest that you get out there and buy yourself some beautiful Hoya plants, because some of these plants are very quick growing. And then when you get into the specialist plants, because I've heard there are so many Hoyas, some of them are extremely slow growing. But these plants I have in front of me here, they grow like no one's business. So don't you worry about that. You'll have a big bushy plant, whichever way you want to do it. You can stake them up, stake them round in rings, have them hanging down. You can have them trailing along something. You can do whatever you want with these. So thank you once again for watching Gardens and Crystals with me, Wesley Peterson. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know when my next video will be uploaded. And I will see you again very, very soon. Goodbye.